Hey, limitless beings. Skye Hanley here, alignment coach and business mentor, bringing you another amazing video. Today we're talking about what's blocking you in business, all right? Now, let me just put here for a second. I do have another video that is the four hidden barriers to you making the money that you want, like in your business. I believe that's what it is. If that resonates with you, like go check out the rest of my YouTube channel, find that one, because there are actually, crazy, amazing, subconscious barriers, right, that could be blocking you from making the money that you want right now in your business. And you don't even realize that these things are actually kicking in and blocking you. So if this video today interests you, go watch that other one as well. If you are new to my YouTube channel, then obviously hit the like or subscribe button so that you can stay up to date with all the most amazing videos that we are putting out. Now, I was just eating like healthy vegan chocolate crackles, so it's probably all over me. I probably should have checked that out first. Let's talk about what's blocking you in business. Now, recently, it's funny, I was just talking about the 4 hidden mental barriers to why you're not making the money that you want. And actually what's been happening recently in my universe is, I just finished teaching, my Money Codes Mastery 5 days to 10K, masterclass course. You guys, it was so amazing and so fucking in depth, and I feel super honored for everyone who came and they joined that amazing experience, who stuck with it. We had some lengthy and deep amazing discussions, really choosing to play a higher game in life. And anyway, on one of those days we were talking about, the first day actually is literally mastering your beliefs. All right. Or mastering your mindset is actually what the day was called. And the reason that mindset, if you're listening to this, you've probably done a little bit of personal development or something like that before. And it really is just something that we need to be actualizing, all the time, right? Always uncovering, new, amazing, different ways so that we can keep, exceeding our own expectations, choosing courage, expanding our existences, all those amazing things, right? So on day one, we spoke about mastering our mindset, and what we were talking about is this concept, right, that that our beliefs affect our thinking, that our thinking affects our behaviors, and that our behaviors become our patterns. All right, and I'm going to say that one more time. So our beliefs affect our thinking affects our behaviors, right? And then our behaviors become our patterns. And then what ends up happening, and in Money Codes Mastery, we literally break down those things at every layer of them. We talk about our beliefs, right? And, and where our beliefs come from, and helpful beliefs and unhelpful thinking that no longer serves us. And this idea that sometimes, our beliefs are not even our own. Right? Or we've grown up hearing particular things, for the sake of, Money Codes Mastery, money doesn't grow on trees, money doesn't grow on trees, and then we somehow adopt that, as if, making money is hard, it's not all around us, it's not, everything, right? And so, we end up with this belief, and our belief then starts to affect our thinking. Right? So, we break down each layer. So our thinking, we're then money doesn't grow on trees, which means it's hard to make money, which means I'm going to have to fucking slog and hustle and, without grace, flow and ease. And, and then clients are probably going to say no. And then all this different sort of stuff, right? It affects our thinking. So our beliefs affect our thinking then affects our behaviors. And at the behavioral level, right, let's use a different example, in business that sometimes shows up for us. And the example is, I'm just not that good at sales, or the sales process is really hard, or I just don't want to feel scammy and manipulative or something like that, right? So if your belief is that, that selling is hard and you're just not really much of a salesperson, which is very, I was going to say defeatist, but what the word is, I'm disempowering, I'm just not that good at sales. It's a skill. You can learn it. You can get interested. We can be other person focused rather than, focused on ourselves. There is so, there's so much amazingness that you can do and transform your beliefs around sales and selling. Somebody has a problem, you have a solution. How fucking awesome is that? And if you're here, you're in a service-based business, which means you're in the business of helping people. So that's fucking awesome, right? Like, that doesn't have to be this scammy, awful, like I'm just not that good at selling, like, or I'm just a, this, or I'm just a that kind of thing. Like, it diminishes you, right? You are a skilled, resilient human being. You can, become better at selling. That's okay too, right? Come get the help from a person like me, business mentor. If that's a skill in an area that, or even if that's an energy that you'd like to transform. Right? We can talk strategic and say if that's a skill in an area that you'd like to up level in, sure, no worries. But really, if you're going into a sales process and your belief, and this is the whole point, right? If your belief is that, selling is hard and it feels really icky and, I don't want to sort of con people into, whatever. And then this is your thinking. So you're thinking, and then the only person who can hear you with your thinking is you. So you're then creating a toxic environment within you where you've decided, because it's your belief, that selling is going to be hard, and now I'm going into this sales conversation. Maybe they're not going to sign up anyway, right? Like, that kind of thing. Your thinking then affects your behaviors. All right? And your behaviors, so maybe you'll rush through the sales process, or maybe your nervousness in it will come off as disinterest to the person who's sitting there in front of you, who's like, please help me, and you're a bit nervous. So you just sort of like, I don't know, just talking really quickly, and it might come across as disinterest when maybe it's just a lack of confidence. Right? So your beliefs affect your thinking then affect your behaviors, and then your behaviors, because what happens is, there's something called negativity bias. And what it means is that we keep doubling down on the same kinds of things, right? And especially, unfortunately, when it happens to be, potentially a negative thing. Now, you can be like, I am the most positive, like optimistic, live in a world where all things are possible kind of a human being, right? But this sort of known, I guess, fact, this negativity bias, it actually lives in all of us, all right? So you might be the most positive person out there, but, if you had a traumatic experience back when you were a child, negativity bias, allows us to understand, like, it's like a doubling down effect. You will remember that traumatic experience as a child, right? And that might be triggering and whatever it is, alrighty, as it probably should be. We have to work through triggers, conversation for another day. But so what happens is we start reliving the same patterns, and we start creating these circumstances in which we are going to continue to relive those patterns. So then the next sales process, the next person comes along and you're like, okay, well, that last person didn't sign up, did they? And so now you've doubled down, you've got it all sorted out because, and maybe you've heaped some other stuff on there, like I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm probably too expensive, I'm comparing myself to all these other people, thinking. And then that thinking is going to affect your behavior. Because now you're like, far out, well, that last person didn't sign up and sales are really hard. See, like, what does this mean about me? Well, I'm obviously a piece of shit and and I'm not worth signing up with, and I probably should change my pricing. So I'm just going to devalue myself even more. And now I'm going into this sales process and I'm really fucking sweaty about the fact that I'm now going to talk to this other person. I'm feeling really down. And then that is the vibe and the energy and the frequency that we bring to that next, scenario. And then, those behaviors, like, because our thinking is toxic, and upsetting and valid, and, we have to get rid of it. Like, we have to work through it too, right? Like, emotions are valid, but at the same time, we don't need to feel all the big, heavy, whatever ones at all times. Like, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel, distressed. It's okay to whatever, but we don't want to feel that at times that it is not actually, that it's not a warning system, that it's not actually helping us. You are safe in a sales process. You are worthy. You are enough, right? You have a solution that somebody has a problem you have a solution for. How awesome is that, right? And if they don't sign up, that doesn't reflect or mean anything on, like in regards to you. You're still perfect. You're still amazing, in your imperfection, in all of your humanity, right? So that's what we end up doing. We relive the pattern again and again and again. We almost get like a snowball effect, right? Of like, of negativity bias. And until we disrupt the pattern in some way, whether that's, at any of those levels, behavioral, catching a behavior while it's happening and then choosing differently, radical discontinuity, whether it's at the thinking level where you're like, no, like blah, blah, blah in your own head and you're like, oh no, I don't actually need to think that today. That's not helpful. The only person, I'm making toxic is myself. I don't need to think like that. That's cool. Thanks, brain. I'm actually going to really go and enjoy this sales process. And the more that you can catch yourself at those different levels rather than, doubling down on them and playing them out, it means that you're actually going to start changing your beliefs. And if you're catching yourself in a belief, or especially if you're saying it out loud, if you're like, oh God, I'm just not really much of a salesperson, change the language in which you are using first and foremost. So, I'm actually just working on my, sales as as service, mindset at the moment. You can say that, it's not like you don't have to just bullshit yourself and go, I'm fucking amazing at sales. If you feel like you're not quite there yet, it's a language. You've got to, there's some skill to learn. That's cool. But selling as a service, like somebody has a problem, you have a solution. How fucking awesome is that? Right? So start changing the language around what you're telling yourself, because you are listening all the time, all right? So if you keep telling yourself that same thing of like, oh, well, I'm just not much of a salesperson, whatever you tell yourself is true. I'm just not much of a salesperson. I'm just not much of a salesperson. Or, I'm really working on my sales as a service mindset at the moment. Isn't that much nicer? And that means that we can start getting into that deeper layer, of belief. And when we change our beliefs, we fucking change the world. All right, you guys. Hope that helps for today. So have a bit of a think, dig deep, see where your beliefs affecting your thinking is affecting your behaviors, and your behaviors are becoming, regular patterns that you're living out. And and it doesn't have to be just in business. It can be, in life as well. Obviously, it can be in relationship. It can be in, you pick and work out what beliefs no longer serve you, and perhaps even what beliefs are not even your own. And when you work those things out and you start disrupting the pattern, then you'll be able to step away from what's blocking you, from all of the most amazing success that you so deserve. All right, you guys. Bye.